which talks about the technology as a catalyst for social change, with the objective of understanding how technology profoundly altered our modes of life and the impact of the advancement of technology in society. Now, I'd like to pass this time over to Ashvina, the Vice President of Rotaract Club, to moderate this session. Thank you.
Hi, everyone, and a warm welcome to everyone for today's session, Technology as a Catalyst for Social Change. So thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ashvina, and I'm currently the Vice President of Rotaract Club of Taylor's Lakeside Campus, and I'll be your moderator for today. With me, I have our wonderful guest speakers, Sachin Kumar and Jordan Tan. So Jordan, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yep, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Tan Junwen. You guys can call me Jordan. I am from TARUC Computer Science Society and currently is the chairperson. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right. Thank you so much, Jordan. And now, Sachin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi,
good
afternoon. Very good afternoon. My name is Sachin. I'm from Taylor's University, currently in my final year doing my computer science. And yeah, good to see you all.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you so much, guys. So now, before we get started, I'd like to inform everyone in the audience here that if you have any questions at all for our speakers today, feel free to drop it in the chat box and we will look at your questions towards the end of the session. And now let's get right into it. You guys ready, Jordan and Sachin?
Yep, I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Okay. So now I'm going to delve into some questions that's been prepared across 4 themes. But first, before we get into those questions, I want to ask the both of you, technology as a catalyst for social change. Do you guys agree with the statement? Like, yeah.
You're sure you go first?
No, you could go first.
Oh, no, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, technology as a social catalyst, I do see an upside on it. There is a progress in advancement of technology where in this current decade we see everyone is moving to this platform, whether it's job, education, purchase. So the awareness is coming, is developing, and now we are seeing more. The momentum is there. So yeah, I think most of our career choices, our decision making will be online, and we'll be merging our real world into the virtual world. Like probably like now, Metaverse is a new thing, so we are pretty much going to enter into a new era of life.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Jordan?
I totally agree on you that the technology is a catalyst towards social changes because before the technology has been invented, we are perceiving information much different, right? We perceive information from newspaper, from radio, from television, but nowadays everything is just a click. Like you can know the flood in Klang Valley through Facebook, through Instagram, and they even lived it on YouTube. So I think that makes us to know information far beyond our reach, and it's more convenient for us. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. All right, thank you so much, guys. So now I'm going to delve into the questions that I mentioned earlier that have been prepared. So the first theme would be technology and privacy in the society. So the first question under this theme would be, so I think everyone in the audience here also can agree, we see this thing called cookies a lot, every website has like a disclaimer. Do you accept, that we have cookies in our website, and do you not? So could any one of you help simplify for us laymen, what exactly are the cookies that we see online?
Okay.
For me,
yeah. Jordan, go ahead. No problem.
Yeah, sorry about that. For me, I think that cookies is kind of how to say, like a cache for the computer. So if you like to save your information, for example, your dark theme or light theme, or let's say your mobile or your desktop views, that even other than that, it's for example, let's say Facebook, you open a conversation. So I think that is what cookie has saved. It's not so privacy, but sometimes it can save some privacy information like password, like username. So for some of the time I would accept, but for most of the time I would not accept the cookies from our website.
I see. How about Sachin,
Yeah.
your input?
I would say the same thing, because cookie is like a small trace of info which they collect from you time to time, and these cookies are usually stored in your browser. They won't go anywhere. So unless you clear your browser history, that's when the cookies go off. So like what
I
Jordan
see.
mentioned, cookies, they store certain activities or data of your web browser. For example, the most straightforward is username, password. So that next time when you want to sign in or you click a form, automatically you see your email there or a password there. And then another thing is that why cookies are highlighted in websites and why people think cookies are harmful is because it is known to be it is known to be trackers. In fact, it tracks. So like you may have heard of tailored experience by products, where they say that if you accept our terms and conditions, we give you full user experience, everything. What they mean by that is that they collect your information with your consent, so that in future they will submit this data to their third-party vendors who are supporting their product to give you what tailored experience, like maybe relevant advertisements or products recommended in your timeline. That is why cookies are there, and it is a thing where cookies is something mandatory when it comes to a current website, because that's how you generate revenue. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, guys. And I think I just want to like kind of follow up what Jordan said, because he said he accepts cookies in some websites but doesn't in other. So what are like some instances that you don't accept cookies? Maybe Jordan, you wanna take this?
Let's say I were to go to read a blog from some software engineer or tech enthusiast. So that is kind of a casual thing that I do in my daily life. But I don't see the need to accept cookies, because if they do accept cookies, I feel that there is a chance that they could trace my internet behavior, and I just leave it that. So for most of the time, unless I see there's some kind of function that are not functioning well, for example, when I didn't accept the cookies and the graph is not moving, or I couldn't mouse over and see the details. So in that case, I would kindly accept the cookies.
I see. Okay. So more of like if if it doesn't function well, if you find the website not functioning well, and if you feel that it's you want it to be relevant to you, that's when you like accept cookies. Otherwise,
Yeah, correct. In that case,
I
the
see.
coronavirus graph is one of the example that forced me to accept the cookies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. All right. So I think speaking of the coronavirus, is our privacy more compromised now following the COVID-19 pandemic, in your opinion? Because, governments are now collecting our movement data for tracking purposes and all that. So maybe Sachin, you want to take this first?
Okay, personally, this was my concern in the beginning of the launch of this application, My Yatra. And my concern was because they having sensitive data into the application, which is still in a very early and vulnerable stage. But then, because I was informed by the cybersecurity team of Malaysia that the info which is being stored is stored in the cloud and is encrypted pretty well. That only the users are able to access. However, the concern of privacy is still there, because this is a very new system, and My Sejahtera, to be honest, it's not a ground up application from Malaysia, by the way. It's a rebranded application from Dubai. So the founder of My Sejahtera is a Singaporean, and he just rebranded, basically like rebranding cars, So the complications of privacy is still there because the server sometimes fails, and so far there is no cases of data being breached. So I think we are still in safe hands. But the concern of privacy is still there because our vaccine information, our dependency, everything is there. And the risk is that if we submit our information wrongly somewhere, or if we just give our information to someone, there is a chance someone can play dirty with it.
Okay. So privacy concerns are somehow inevitable.
Yeah, that one you can't avoid that, even no matter how secure things are.
Okay, thank you, Sachin. Jordan, want to let us know your thoughts?
It's the same as what Sachin has said, that it's really unavoidable because no matter where you go, there is a digital footprint that you have left there. But then for my concern, I don't really worry much if I'm using My Sejahtera because I think it's a better way to track where we go and where are we. If without My Sejahtera, we would use papers and pens. So it's a more unsystematic way. And if we would like to inform the person that we have recently contacted with someone positive case, I think it's much inefficient without My Sejahtera.
Actually, adding on to that, right? In my opinion, My Sejahtera is actually much more feasible for our country system because we prefer to get things under our control. We don't want things to be automated, everything, So the ideal contact tracing for COVID cases is actually using beacon devices, tracking devices. Maybe I would say the concept is similar to AirTags, Apple AirTags, those mini trackers. So it was actually implemented with the collaboration of Apple and Google. But sadly, in our country, our application doesn't support that method. We just use QR scan. I think it's still way better than writing down. Writing down is a very messy system because once you write, you don't know whether that person actually has a risk or anything. And people are now forging all the details on the book. So even I myself forged a detail on the book. So, because I just don't have time. I just rather just take the phone, scan, and go.
Definitely.
It's that convenient.
We like things to be done fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
More systematic.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. So moving on to my next question. Now, because privacy has been a thing of recent times, and if I wanted to start up a technology startup, right? And if I were to prioritize privacy, for example, I think the search engine DuckDuckGo, they say they don't track you, right? So would that be a differentiating element, and like a competitive element? Would it make your company stand out more, and would it make people, how to say, like, want to use your app more just because they prioritize your privacy? Maybe Jordan, you want to take this first?
Privacy concern is one of the issue. Just like recently, WhatsApp has changed their policy because they would like to access the your status from Facebook. But some people are concerned that they could hack that kind of information, and third-party seller could post advertisement based on that status. For me, I would think if you do not have a viable business model to earn money, selling the information could be one viable way. to let the business stay sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Sachin,
do
you
agree
wanna-
with that. I do agree because right now all the businesses rely on human data, correlating to the information I said about earlier, cookies. It works the same. They it needs certain trace of your data so that it can give you a better user experience. That is why you don't see websites not allowing you to browse their website without accepting their cookies. You have to, because
Mm,
that's how they
yeah.
can give you the best experience according to their business model.
Yep.
Even if you go against it, they cannot provide you the best
User
user
experience.
experience unless they charge you. So you're more or less you're exchanging your personal data in terms of money.
I see.
I think when it comes to startups, personally, because right now many people are becoming more aware about privacy and security. So people know it's not like back then. If you wind back 2 decades ago, people aren't so concerned about privacy. We just access website, just accept and everything, just browse everything. We don't know who is tracking us, what is being tracked and everything.
Yep.
So if you're having a startup or having a product, privacy is something crucial, a necessity. I would a very good example, a very good startup example, which we have in this current world right now, is Apple themselves. Apple is an advocate in privacy when it comes to in the current technology world, because that's their main selling point. The product isn't any better than anything else in the market, but what's their main selling point is privacy. Their privacy is assured. Their privacy is assured that users are under control and it's not being shared by anyone. So just to keep it short, like, you may be aware of Instagram and WhatsApp being jeopardized by Apple due to their privacy issues. So because of that, Instagram may be monetized very soon. I think in a year or so, we may be entering into a freemium service of Instagram. So maybe to access features like live stream or even uploading lengthy videos, we may need to start paying. So yeah, this started when iOS 14 actually implemented this very secure this new security feature where it locks your tracking ID, because now when you track something or when you use an application, your info is being traded to all the applications in your phone. So even if you're Google searching, Shopee knows, Facebook knows, Instagram knows. You're transferring 9,000 ringgit to someone, Shopee knows, Facebook knows. Yeah.
I see. So is
So
that
you're
the
basically
feature that's like,
exchanging data with your life.
okay. Is that the feature that, asks us like whenever we download a new app, do you want this app to track
Yeah,
your
correct.
phone?
That's the thing in Android version 12 and iOS 14.
I see.
So
Okay. So I think maybe to follow up with what Sachin said, could you give us a little bit more insight on like what like companies or device companies are doing to, keep your privacy intact? Like what are some of the new features? Could you share with us?
currently, it's Apple. Apple is leading in that. When it comes to security, Google is also doing a very good effort, even though ironically they are a data company. They use your data to earn revenue. You'll be wondering how Google earns stuff when all their products are free. So they just use your data, but they are also very stringent about privacy as well. And this year they took a strong move in privacy due to several controversial incidents from Facebook and everything due to data breach. And Google and Apple don't want to be a part of that advocacy. So even Microsoft products and are doing just have very good security as well. So Yeah, I think
Hmm.
now, because now the security systems are more moving towards more biometric. They are no longer relying on pins or anything. It's just one-time passwords or biometrics. So now, if you're in Instagram, for instance, if you're logging in another device, uh, right now they're having a testing feature where they will scan your face. They won't let you type. They won't give you an OTP or anything. They'll scan your face. If it's legit, they'll let you in. It's already
Oh,
in testing, actually, beta testing.
I see. I see. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. It's pretty interesting. It's very interesting how, like, the new type of verification that's like coming. So I'm guessing that one-time passwords are much, much safer than pins and all that.
Yeah,
Ah,
much,
okay.
much safer.
I see, I see. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so now moving on to my next question. So this one is, what is the best way to protect an individual's privacy while not impeding on future innovation? Like maybe Jordan or Sachin, any one of you guys want to take this?
John?
Yep, sure. For me, I'll think that Signal is one of the most how to say, their most discussed application online, where they would like to take over WhatsApp, right? Due to the um privacy concern. But then
Oh,
I don't see that happening now, but that might be happening in the future. So the best way to protect one privacy, I would think that is to open source it, so that people would know what are you doing behind, and you're not actually sharing those to third parties. As long as you are keeping it to yourself, I believe that WhatsApp is somehow misunderstood by somebody, because WhatsApp, they might be sharing to Facebook, they might be sharing to Instagram, and they are all in under the Meta company, right? So it's just a business model that how they operate, and I believe they do not share to Google, they do not share to Amazon about that, because for them, they know that data is one of the treasure for them. It's one of the things that wait, they put in the first place to protect, right?
I see, I see.
Yeah,
All right, thank you, Jordan. Yeah, Sachin, your input, please.
I would agree on Jordan, where you keep your application open source so that even when there's an error, or even the developers can get a hint on what's the application running and everything. And I think sometimes it's also within ourselves, the individuals who use the product. I would say ethical use is one thing if you're concerned about privacy and such. Um, don't share sensitive data when you're communicating or texting anyone, because like what Jordan said, a lot of people do misunderstood WhatsApp's security business model. It's just that WhatsApp, because now WhatsApp, there's two mediums: WhatsApp personal and WhatsApp business. So currently, with the new terms and agreement,
Condition.
terms and policies. I don't know what's the term. I forgot already. Yeah, so it's just the terms and agreement where terms and conditions. That's the word. Yeah, terms and conditions. The new terms and conditions, they include where certain information which you share about, let's say, a business, WhatsApp will take note and will process in their ML engine, and this will help the business side of WhatsApp, like the small business sites and everything. So this is where people think that, oh, their data is being recorded and taken by WhatsApp, but that's not the case, because it is end-to-end encrypted. So all your messages are in a secure crypto code. No one can be read until your receiver. So your receiver needs to have the same kind of authentication key in order to receive the message. Otherwise, anyone in between is unable to access the data. It applies for both call and WhatsApp messages. So in the meta paradigm of applications, I feel WhatsApp and Instagram is still much safer than Facebook, because of their previous business model, which is carried forward, is actually much safer. So nothing to worry about. But like I said, when it still boils down to individuals. We have to be aware of our own ethics on how we use our details and information online. And even in an organizational level, I think the companies should prioritize users' data because, like what Jordan has mentioned, users' data is their treasure. Without user data, they are losing revenue, or because that's their source of income. So they cannot compromise it for any reason. They have to protect it, be it for good use or bad use. Yeah.
I see. All right. So essentially, does, like, because companies are protecting their users' information and all, right? Is this an obstacle to innovation? Like, do you think that because companies are like protecting their user data and all, will they not be able to innovate as freely, or will it like reduce innovation, like in terms of like coming up with new features for product and all that? Do you think there's a relation, and if there's a relation, is it like a strong relation? Maybe
On a certain level, I would agree. It depends on the product they are having itself. Because if you're talking about e-commerce and Zun, possibly because they don't know because they work on your experience, your choices. These systems work on your choices. They can only recommend you based on what you want. They can't be just throwing you want
random
this,
things.
that. Yeah. So you may not even tap in, which makes their algorithm weak. So the algorithm works with you. That is how e-commerce and other retailing services happen. But when it comes to technology, not really. So technology has to put privacy up front. So innovation can come from anywhere when it comes to technology. But if you're talking about retailing and other e-commerce plans, not necessarily.
I
Yeah.
see. All right. Thank you, Sachin. How about Jordan? You can give us your input.
In my opinion, I think that privacy is an obstacle to innovation, but we would not have to put too much privacy out on the internet. Let's say you're celebrating your birthday or you're visiting someone. I think some of the people would like to have a bookmark on Facebook, right? To locate, to share you have been here. But I think when time passes, you will not be aware that your information was spread on the internet, and people who are unethical can just see where you are, can just track and know where you live. They just how do I say, unintentionally steal your information. So I think that privacy, although it is an obstacle towards innovation, but somehow big companies like Facebook, Google, or Amazon, they should regulate and they should govern privacy that were used by other people, by third parties.
Yeah, correct.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, guys. So moving on to my next question, I think both of you somehow mentioned what are some things that we can be careful of when putting our information on the internet. So, like, what are some of the tips you have for individuals like us to address any privacy issues or concerns that they have? Like, do you guys use any software or applications to protect your privacy? Or yeah, could you guys share with us? Maybe Jordan, you want to take this first?
Mm, for me, I wouldn't how do I say, I do not spend a lot of time to talk about privacy or protection. But one thing that I do in every application is I go into the settings. So whenever I go into settings like Facebook or Instagram, you could see there's one privacy where you can select whether you want people to discover you through mobile phone or email, or you would like to expose yourself through friends of friends. So in that case, you, not to say that Facebook is not protecting you, but somehow from time to time you have the ability to check whether how are you exposing yourself? Are you sharing too much to the public? So if you have time, spend time to go through your app settings, see what are you sharing and what do you do not want to share to the public, and stay protected.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. How about you, Sachin?
Yeah, I usually I do the same thing as well, because sometimes when you start the social media, it's all your privacy settings are on default. When it's on default, it's usually you're sharing certain amount of data on a certain level. So it's better to check your settings time to time and tinker what you are sharing, what do you want to share, what you don't want to share. But if you talk about applications, personally, when it comes to web browsing, people would use VPN. I think all of us would have heard VPN, Virtual Private Network. It's just another platform where it protects your IP address and from unwanted trackers, spies, you name it. So if you want to browse safely, you can use say a browser like Brave. Brave is a good browser, or you can just use VPN. VPN is probably the best uh, application I can suggest if you are privacy concerned, if you don't want people to track or anyone. There's a lot of free VPN applications out there you can try, but the service, if you want like the best experience of both worlds, both internet speed and protection, you need to you need to subscribe for their premium VPN services. Another thing, other than that, there's nothing much to be done, other than managing your passwords. I think that is probably another thing, or if you want to think about privacy or security, because sometimes people invade your privacy when they gain access into your certain account and thing. So to avoid the privacy breach to happen, you need to have a good encryption system. So changing passwords, updating passwords is a necessity. Yeah.
Okay. And I think you follow up on that. What is the recommended timeline to update password? Like after how long?
3 months.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's 90 days. 90 days, which is 3 months.
Wow.
But no one does that unless you 1 month want to come back. Oh, I forgot my password. I mean, that's me.
Right.
Come and show me.
Yeah.
I don't remember the password. I just changed.
Totally true.
Honestly.
I just don't remember. I just click forgot password. I'll change. But the password is more or less the same only.
Wow, that's something I didn't know. 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe only Microsoft did that, because every time I log into Microsoft, they will say that you're using an old password that was updated 90 days ago. And I believe only Microsoft has that kind of feature. Other than that, I've never seen that kind of changing password notification for me.
Yeah, that's actually true. I had that experience before. I think Google has that, but it doesn't specify how many days, but it'll tell you that you're using an old password. Try something else.
Okay, so this is when you guys change your password, is it? Like attempt
Yeah.
test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
It shows that you haven't changed your password for a long time.
Oops. All right. So thanks so much, guys. And that pretty much wraps up our first theme. So now we'll move on to our second theme, which is switching from conventional to digital. So my first question would be, everyone, I'm sure everyone here has found it somewhat challenging to transition from conventional methods to digital ways. So do you guys have any advice on how to ease this transition? Sachin, you want to go first?
Okay, so I was one of those people who actually struggle in this transition. Like not struggle, but just had to adapt it. I think all of us felt that way. But I feel like we shouldn't see the conventional and the digital way of doing things the same way. Because some people, they think that, or it's just, the different medium we can apply the same way. No, you can't do that. Because that's not how things work. If you're face to face, the way of implementing and doing things are different. But if it's digital, you have to design a brand new framework of how you do things. So I think the most relatable one to all of us is online learning, where online learning where all of us thought are trained, because for years, for like decades, not decades, just 2 decades, we are just trained. We are trained to like, study, memorize, exam, then that has been our life. And then when all of us switch to digital, we suddenly stuck in a block where though that working model won't work anymore. We have to actually do our research, do a lot of studying, understanding the content instead of just looking through, paraphrasing through, and yeah, that's the online module. And another thing, um, I feel like everyone should get the awareness of digital literacy, because like as mentioned earlier, the world is progressing to the digital world. Everyone is aiming towards the virtual VR, AR world. Very soon, learning will be entering into the VR, AR world as well. So the learning techniques, the module breakdown should be different. You can't do conventional exams, hours-based exams anymore. You have to take, if your module outcome is this and this, probably that whole outcome, you should break your module into several assessments. Because now the generation right now, they are more exposed to the online world, and they prefer assessment-based learning. They don't prefer exams, like exams, yes, you can score, but it won't help you so much. So online learning has its own benefit. The downside of online learning compared to conventional learning is that the internet is there. Anyone can get anything. So some may take this as an advantage of cheating or doing all kinds of unethical stuff. This not only applies on education, it applies in many ways as well, in work, name several fields. But yeah, in my opinion, you cannot see both digital and conventional methods the same.
And I think it's like, from what I understand from what you just said, it's so important to start being adaptable from now itself,
Yes.
because in the future it's going to be like that. I see. Jordan, your input, please.
Yeah, for me, I feel unfortunate and fortunate at the same time, because COVID-19 had hit us the hardest, right? But fortunately, we have this online learning platform, Google Classroom, which adapts us quickly in sharing lecture notes, the tutorial, practical, those kind of resources. But I wouldn't imagine how those primary school and secondary schools adapt to that kind of information, right? But
Yeah.
fortunately, they do adapt to that kind of environment, and SPM just go well. PT3 also goes well. So I think that when the times come, everybody would just have to be forced to adapt to it. But other than that, if you were to subscribe to those kind of blogs or news, right? Sometimes they would like to share. They would share those kind of futuristic information such as Bitcoin, Metaverse. Those kind of things would be too ambitious to say now. But I'm a little optimistic where they would come to the reality in our life.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, Jordan. So I think Sachin mentioned something pretty interesting, right? Learning is going to be like AR or VR based in the future. But I just want to ask, has anywhere, any country or university, has anyone already adopted this type of learning or incorporated it into their learning at the moment?
So far, no country has started yet, but some countries and private academies like Khan Academy and several private academies, they do apply digital way of learning. So everything, assessment, coursework, lessons are all carried online. I think Singapore primary school, yeah, I mentioned Singapore primary school. Even in 2012, they are already all the students at the tender age of 8, 9. They already have their own mini laptops, iPads.
Wow.
Yeah, this is 2012 we are speaking, because we had an exchange program back in my primary school, and we had visitors from Singapore, and they used my class for their lessons, and they did not use whiteboard at all. They had to
Wow.
use my classroom. They had to use my classroom because we had smartboard, and the students are allowed to utilize the smartboard. The teachers and students are allowed to utilize the smartboard. So the students communicate their work and everything via the devices. Teachers will use the device in front to use it as a teaching medium.
Oh, oh my God, that's something I wish I had in my schooling days. Like being able to bring your own laptop
Yeah,
and
that's
do
the
work
thing.
there.
That's the thing.
Wow.
When you see that, you just get so excited, like, wow,
Yeah.
they're already having devices in their hands.
Yeah, and I think it like enhances the learning experience more, because you're pumped about coming to school and like
Yeah,
you're
correct.
excited to see. All right. So I think because now that you mentioned adaptability is ever so important, how can we prepare like the children now and our future generation, right? How do we get them to be adaptable to the digital transformation that's going to come our way? How do we ensure that uh, they are more adaptable than ever? How can we incorporate? Any one of you can take this first. Yeah.
Helen?
Yep. I think kids and future generation, it's not much of a concern because kids adapt very well, not like adults or golden age citizen. They do have a hard time adapting to mobile phone, and you can see that most of them are still using like Nokia phone, right? But if you would like kids and future generation to adapt to digital transformation, because in future it will be more complex. You have all AIs around the world. You have VR, AR. You have Metaverse. But one thing I would like to hope that kids and future generation is adapting is a better way to learning, a more specific way of learning. Not like everyone should study geography, should study history, but everyone has their own potential, has their own talent. So if there is a kind of technology that could suit themselves well, could measure themselves, like which kind of career are they suitable in, I hope that they could kind of utilize and everyone have the opportunity to use that kind of technology.
Okay. I see. Sachin, would you like to share this, your input?
Yeah, I would agree on Jordan's sort of statement, where everyone, because youngsters now, I have a younger brother. He's actually 6 years younger. He adapted with devices very early. Like not saying that I didn't learn computing and everything earlier, but he grew up in that generation where devices and learning come together pretty well. And I would say that he is better than me in certain ways, in certain aspects of technology. So, but like what Jordan said, that when you train the youngsters now, they can pick up very fast compared to older people, because you can even see that older people have problems with devices, even though you tell them show them the same thing over and over again, they have trouble to pick it up. Youngsters, they are more keen, they're always wanting to learn something new, so it's easy for them to absorb. So when you uh, when you cultivate that learning way or platform to them, they would actually absorb it very well. Given that like I said, digital literacy and ethical understanding lah, what you should use for, what you shouldn't use for, because the internet and the device has ultimate possibilities. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. It can either bring you up or it can destroy you. So regardless of what age group you're coming from, you just need to know what you're using for. So for it, because now a lot of youngsters are online, right? So we need to have some sort of filtering on what they're saying. I believe that Singapore students, when they have the device, they have certain level of filtering on contents, so that they are only getting what they're supposed to get and then not extra unnecessary stuff, And even online platforms, in my opinion, it's more reliable, and it's more pure, because like since you're focusing so much on education, we'll just talk about it. Like because right now, if you're in a conventional class, you have a range of students where different people have different talent, different strengths, and everything. A teacher can't actually monitor that, can't find who is good, who is bad. They just expect everyone to be the same. But when it comes to online, you can actually see who is able to progress faster, slower, who needs help, who needs a custom way of approach, a custom approach of learning. So I think this online has a lot of possibilities. Yeah.
Okay. So I think what I understand from what you said is that actually the digital way can actually help like teachers and even parents identify their child's potential,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily have to, like force them to, go the conventional way and like just follow all subjects and try to like score on all subjects, it
Yeah,
helps really bring out where they're good at. Oh, I see. That's very interesting. And that's like very hopeful. I'm very hopeful for the future generation. All right. So I think you guys mentioned metaverse a lot. So um as for me, I've heard of it, but I don't think I fully understand it. So maybe could you guys share what exactly metaverse is, and maybe a little bit of examples of metaverse in the education context, or maybe even, like any other context as well. So maybe Jordan, you want to go first?
For me, I've seen a few documentaries from Vox or from Microsoft. I believe they're all competing towards the metaverse. NVIDIA also wanted to have their own metaverse called Omniverse. It's different from what Facebook wanted to do, but I believe what their goal is to have a whole virtual reality world where you could be connected to that platform through through different headset. For example, you were to reach a school. Everybody are reaching the same school. There are no replication of the school in different kind of VR headset. So I believe they would like to make that kind of they would like to reach that kind of agreement to make the same virtual reality world, so that if people were to connect to each other, they are talking about the same thing. They are connecting to the same classroom, playing about the same game, and looking at the same thing in the big kind of universe.
Yeah.
I
Right.
see. Okay, Sachin, yeah.
Because the metaverse is actually aiming the same thing. They want to bring the real world into the virtual world. It starts from headsets and VR headsets and everything. That's why you hear some companies, they're coming out with AR glasses. Maybe you'd have heard of this concept called Google Glass. So
Yes.
Google Glass is a discontinued product, but right now companies like Facebook and Nvidia are collaborating with eyewear companies and creating AR glasses. So it just looks like your normal glass, but it has cameras over here. It has
Wow.
cameras over here. So I'm wearing a Ray-Ban. Ray-Ban actually has a model with the cameras. So you can actually link it with your phone and you can record your life. You can interact with everything. It's basically like you have like Iron Man system on your eyes,
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. So
I
the
see,
world is
I
heading
see.
to that. So I think when it comes to the metaverse, we are merging into that paradigm. We are
Mhm.
going into the paradigm where we are able to interact systematically with our fingertips. Like we are not touching anything, but we are actually interacting with something. So we are entering that world. I think I was I was in MITEC, I was at MITEC, the 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 exhibition back in 2019. I was actually leading my School of Computing back then for the events there, and I got to try out this simulator, this biology simulator where you're able to interact with your whole human body, all the parts of your body, your heart, your skull, your bones, your digestive system. I was actually given the opportunity to actually be inside the human digestive system, but like in a VR headset. So
Wow.
it gives you a very Caesar feeling, but then the experience is wild. You know, you can actually feel that the food is being swallowed and it comes to the body. Then you can actually feel it, you know, even though you're just wearing it. You just feel like a bit of dizziness, but that's the world we are heading to right now. So education, gaming, that is the education world. You know? Imagine gaming. Because gaming,
Wow.
we already have this thing, beat lightsaber, you know,
Yeah.
they do that. Yeah, that's so cool. Like I actually want to own one headset just to play that, because you're in a virtual world playing beats and music and all. That's so cool, you know. So imagine if they bring that to gaming.
So it's
So
like the metaverse and gaming, something like we've seen in the Ready Player One movie, is it?
yeah, so we are just merging a digital world, I mean a real world into a digital. So maybe you'd have heard, if you watched The Matrix before. Anyone watched The Matrix before?
Oh my God, I have to admit I have not.
No, the old Matrix. So the old Matrix, the concept is the same thing. It's a divide between what's real and what's virtual. So you can't say the difference, because I mean that's how the Matrix works. You can't say the difference. You can't tell the difference what is real, what is fake, because it's the same. It's just that
Wow.
in digital you can die and respawn back. In real life, you're dead. You're dead. You know. So
Mhm.
we are entering that world. Maybe in the metaverse we can even see Steve Jobs. Who knows, right? We can even see
That's
Steve
so
Jobs.
cool.
There's a
That's so cool.
possibility. Yeah.
Awesome. That's a very interesting world we're headed into. So thank you so much, guys, on that. And I think the last question for this switching from conventional to digital theme would be, I think we're aware that the government plays an important role in enhancing and propelling digital transformation. So are the current initiatives by our government effective enough? Or, what can the government do, or like what they should do to actually further boost digital transformation? Yeah. Anyone would like to take this first?
Jalvin, what do you
Okay.
think? Oh, you're
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I don't have any much opinion about this. Right.
To be honest, I don't have much opinion either, but I can say that their efforts um, are there, but not on a larger scale. I think we can see it from UM, where they advocate stuff like this. But personally, I feel like our government could do better, but they're not trying. That's what I personally think. We can actually do better and excel in this platform. We have the technology, we have the research, the talent. It's just that the funding, the infrastructure isn't provided by the government to proceed, you know. So
Mhm.
I would say it's not enough, but I hope that they boost it in a few years, because that's the world we're heading to.
True.
That's the world we're heading to. And adaptability is the key. You cannot run away from it. You can avoid it for like maybe a year or so, but once it hits, you have to adapt with it, because even online classes, not a lot of people can adapt. It's not easy. From my side, I've seen people who left had to withdraw, had to defer because of them unable to adapt
Right.
this new platform of learning. So adaptability is key, no matter what plan it is.
Okay, okay.
But
All right. Oh, sorry, Jordan. Yes.
Yeah, Jordan,
Yeah.
go ahead.
for me, right, I do see there is some improvement in what government have adapted to the digital era, where they have invited Microsoft to come and collaborate all kinds of events. They introduce the technology in Malaysia, but I still agree to Sachin that it's not scaling big enough. It's not really reaching out to everyone where you see a boom in technology. I do hope that actually there is a term called STEM, right? The future or nowadays generation should learn the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? That is kind of what nowadays they should focus on. And I do see that there is more students, no matter in which university, there are software engineering, there are diploma in IT, they are really selling that well. So I believe in the educational level, the government is really doing it well, and not just the effort of the government, it's also private sector. They had also given this opportunity to learn, and their internships. So I believe in future, the STEMs do really boost our digitalization in the country.
Yeah, that's true. We have the STEM implement. It's just that it's not like a bigger scale or anything yet. But it's that we have very good talents.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And with that, we have wrapped up the second theme, switching from conventional to digital, and moving on to the third theme, which is how technology helps in information sharing. So I think the questions here are pretty straightforward. We'll start with the first one, which is like, how do you use technology to create awareness on social issues? And maybe to add on later, you guys can talk about if there's anything other than social media, like what are the technologies that maybe some of you guys have employed or like used. So maybe we can start off with Sachin.
Okay, when it comes to creating awareness on social issues using technology, right, there's a lot of platforms because right now you can see even a social media can be a news platform. Who knew that social media could be a news platform, right? And we can even use online platforms. Back then it's used to be raising funds by approaching people, reaching out to people. Now you don't have to. You just go to the funding site and people can actually chip in. That is how advanced the tech has come through. And with the recent floods and everything, people have raised a lot. I think one of the political party, Muda, has raised nearly R1 million in 72 hours online, and it can online, and the engagement which they receive for that funding is all on social media, especially Twitter. So Twitter is a very good platform for reaching out brands, names. Instagram is also a very good platform for raising funds, awareness. We have, I think this year and last year, we have gone through a lot of social issues such as police brutality, Black Lives Matter, and everything. I think social media played a very good role in addressing these topics because without social media, I think a lot of people wouldn't be aware. Personally, I have learned some of the stuff online as well during this span of 2 years, and you get when you're in this place, you have to create an engaging community. When you create an engaging community, you're able to do a lot of things. You can excel online. So just don't give up. It's a platform not easy to excel because a lot of people are online, and it depends on how you attempt it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Sachin. Jordan, your input, please.
I think that for these 2 years, for those who do not use social medias like Facebook, YouTube, or Google, I would believe they are behind those important information, and they will live not in a bad way, but they will live in a like a caveman where they do not know what's happening around them, because nowadays you cannot go out, right? There's no mouth to mouth information with your friends, with your family, with your relatives. So without technology, I would think that uh, it's really felt behind when you were talking to your family, to your friends through chat. And how do I use technology on social awareness, right? I'm more of a consumer instead of a publisher. I do consume a lot on Facebook, where once I scroll, I've seen some kind of news from the Sun, the Star. That is what I've perceived as a official information, official news. So when I see it's really it should be aware by someone else. For example, the Omicron variant, it's really scary, right? So I
Yes.
would share on my own profile page, on my own wall, and just to let other people know that, oh, okay, this is actually one official news published by the SAR, the STAN, or WHO, and people should know how to let themselves be protected during this coronavirus. Right.
I see, I see. All right, thank you guys. So before I go to the next question, I think I just want to like bump the audience a little bit. If you guys have any questions to ask our speakers, feel free to drop it in the chat box and we'll get to it shortly. All right, so the next
Yeah.
question. Yeah, okay. So I think the next question, but I think somehow we kind of got somewhat of an answer already. So, in your opinion, has the reach been much wider now that technology is being used to advocate for social change? And I'm guessing the answer is
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes. Of course.
Definitely yes.
On.
That's interesting. I mean, like, it's great knowing that social media is now used and like the power of social media is there. And it, as much as people like want to hate on it, for like being too distracting or like taking up time, but it really can help bring about change. All right, so that actually pretty much wraps up, how technology helps us in information sharing. And we'll move on to the last theme of the day, which is how technology helps in decision making. So I'll start off with asking, do you guys agree that technology has helped us make decisions faster? And if yes, how is that? Maybe Jordan, you want to take this first?
Mm. I do believe that tech let us make decisions faster because, for example, I believe everyone has the same opinion as me, right? You do Google, right? And there's one term
Yeah.
called Googling. So whenever you have any question, you have any doubt, you will just go to Google and just ask how, what, where, right? So I believe that really helps us make decision faster. But in terms of the correctness of making decision, it's kind of biased. For example, of the vaccine issue, right? Some of them they do have information like the vaccine have side effect. The vaccine does kill some. Yeah, it is kind of true. It's still under research, but I do not agree that you would avoid the vaccine. So although it just make us decide fast whether you would like to choose this or choose that, but I do believe that the decision that has been made still have to rely on human for more how do I say it? For experts. Yeah.
That I would totally agree on that. I don't believe that tech has changed my decision making timing faster. I would say better, more well informed because we Google all the big Google. Because back then, when you want to buy something or when you decide on something, you'll be thinking and thinking, asking people, and that will take some time. But now with internet at our fingertips, yes, it does speed up, but not a significant percentage. because with the internet we are much more well informed, but however it's biased, we have all sorts of information. One source will be saying you should be doing this, another source will say no, you'll be doing that. Like the vaccine information is pretty scattered on the internet. So
I agree.
the pros is you get instant access to opinions and information, but biases. So you have, in the end, you still have to decide carefully and make your decision.
I think I can agree with you guys on that because, like, when the vaccine first started rolling out, and there were like so many people who are like, we have the anti-vaxxers on one end, we have people advocating to, get vaccinated on the other end, and it was just like, yeah, it kind of like created doubt, like a tiny bit of doubt in everyone's mind, like, is this vaccine really, And some people
Yeah,
were
there
like,
was a lot of conspiracy theories happening.
yeah, like the vaccine being like
It's
microchip injected and things like that, right?
magnets, the spoon can be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, thanks guys. So I think moving on, my next question would be, how can we ensure that we use technology to make the best decisions? Maybe, yeah, Jordan. you
For
wanna
me, I would it's hard to judge which party is really trustable, which party is not trustable. But one thing that big social media like Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter they has made is the verified mark, where if you are the real person and you are sharing real information, you will be given a verification mark beside your name. And for those who are just casual user and post their kind of opinion, it's hard to see that kind of take beside their name. So whenever I see a verified mark beside the name, I tend to believe the information that they have shared. But those kind of information such as political, geopolitical views, that one I wouldn't care much, because it's kind of, how do I say, not to say that
Biased.
are false. Yeah, it's still biased. It's still that there might be some light or some intention in it where we would not be aware about.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I wouldn't say technology will ensure us to make better decisions, but we are more informed, better informed on what is right, what is trustable, what is unable to be trusted. Verification marks, sources from verified accounts are reliable for the most part, but then like political, it's biased still. So maybe you have a fan or celebrity or a news source who has been pumping out very reliable news. Just one day they just started to decide post something more very biased, even though you personally know that it's not really true. They make it more biased, like they're right. So at the end of the day, you have to be wise and understand your sources and carefully make a decision. That's the best thing I could say.
I see. All right. Thank you, guys. So, my next question would be more in the context of like organizations and like businesses and companies. So, do you guys have any advice to share? Like, how can they use technology to its maximum potential to help them achieve, their organizational goals? Sachin, you want to take this first?
So because now business are more relying on data and statistics to make certain decisions in their business models and company. More companies are relying on AI and data, big data, because from there you're allowed to make better analytics, more accurate decisions from there, more accurate statistical view of whatever product or service you're offering. So I think back then with just normal statistics, you can see the trends. Sometimes trends has to be manually altered and checked. But right now, with the integration of machine learning and everything, not only you're able to produce a statistical view of what's happening, and it can even provide you an analysis of what will happen in the future if you do this or do that, So if you're coming from a data analytic field, statistical field, it is very beneficial if you're entering in a business field. It's very beneficial for an organization because that's where they leverage a lot of decision making. They work with the DevOps engineers, the business analysts, because these people are the ones who analyze and decide what needs to be taken into consideration and be done. So I think that is one of the one thing you can actually maximize in terms of technology. Another thing maybe advertising, not so much on tech, but I would say if it's a business wise, AI, ML, statistics, those are the stuff.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, Sachin. Jordan, would you like to share with us some of
I
the
would say
insights?
that technology is not just a tool for the public, it's also tools for everyone, even in the career environment. So to achieve a maximum potential to achieve organization goals, right? I can see that there's a big advancement. It's kind of mature in the commercial world where you see technologies used by everyone. But inside the company, I believe that there is still some space to be improved where you could apply technologies for automation and also for like DevOps that Sachin has mentioned. This really do save costs and save times, and also ensure that the product, the quality to be delivered to the customers. So yeah, I believe that technology has a maximum potential, just that it hasn't been achieved internally in all organizations. Right.
Yeah.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And before I move on to the final question in this theme, another bump to the audience. Now they've shared a Slido link, so you can feel free to drop in the questions that you want to ask the speakers there as well. We'll go into the Q&A session very, very shortly. Okay, and to the final question. So as technology, like somehow it aids in making decision making much simpler in the future, do you think we would be overly reliant on technology to make decisions? And if yes, is this a good or a bad thing? So, Sachin, maybe you want to take this first?
To be honest, most of us are heading towards that direction actually. Is it a good thing? Yes, it's a bad thing. I can't say, because certain decision making allow us to be much less stupid, if I'm allowed to say that. Because sometimes we are unable to think, sometimes we just want to get things done, and when the technology in your hands allows you to provide you a better solution, a better decision making, you would definitely rely on that. And is it being overly reliant a good thing? Not really, but we should be able to balance ourselves on what is good, what is bad, and just be sure that we don't have to be reliant on everything what a technology suggests. Maybe an AI can be suggesting something good on a certain level, but if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to rely on it. That's what I believe. So I believe personally, I believe in man maximum, machine minimum, even though I'm in the machine world, but it's still better to be man maximum, where you still have control on what you want to do. I would say I would use technology as a tool to provide me a better suggestions on what decisions I can make, instead of me relying it entirely on everything. So I would just take it as a medium I won't take it as something which I would solely make my life decisions on.
All right. Thank you,
Yep.
Sachin. Yeah, Jordan.
Very true that you have emphasized on the man more and machine less, right? Because although AI has an advantage on helping humans making decisions through reasoning and through those data logistic regression, it is a process in machine learning where you look at the past data and you make future decision. But I do believe that there should be a regulation, and what if things goes wrong, terribly wrong? It could take one human's life. So I believe that technology such as AI could be tools, could be accompaniment tools that help us in making decision, but not fully decision making. We human has also the responsibility to agree or disagree whether that decision has been made right. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And that pretty much wraps up like our first part of the session today. So I think now, thank you so much for sharing your input, both Sachin and Jordan. So I think now we'll move on to the Q&A session where we'll see some questions from the audience members. So first question would be, do you think that artificial intelligence will be used to help make real world decisions in the future? I think we touched a little bit on this earlier. So maybe Jordan, want to take this first and then followed by Sachin?
Yeah, sure. So AI, to be honest, AI has been in our real life for the past 10 years. You know Siri, right?
Yes.
And there's a new assistant called Sam. I forgot the name. Is Sam Agent that was introduced by Samsung. That so I can say it's an AI. When you ask him, find me to the nearest restaurant, or should I bring an umbrella to the to this place at that time? So that one is considered as an AI, not a fully AI that could make guessing, but based on the prediction, the weather forecast, they had made this kind of voice technology to feedback to the user that you should bring an umbrella because there'll be a rain at that time. But in the future, I believe that AI would make more real world decision, such as it's my big guessing, it's my big thinking that they will take over the government. There will be an AI government to be appearing in all country, and even that unites all country together in solving different kind of issues in different kind of geography. For example, like in Indonesia, that there would be a typhoon, right? So how would AI suggest a best decision on where to allocate all those citizens, how to defend themselves for this kind of natural disaster? Yep, I wouldn't be surprised if AI has that kind of feature in the future, because that's really a faster decision to be made before humans have all kind of discussion, all kind of debates between themselves. All right.
Pretty cool, an AI government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sachin, would you like to add anything for this question?
I would agree with what Jordan has mentioned. AI is, although it's beneficial, it can be a threat if it's out of control. So sometimes that is why AI needs to be moderated and regulated time to time, and you cannot just let it just eat up stuff, because AI is an algorithm. It just generates and heaps up and heats up. HEAP. So it heaps up all kinds of information, good or bad. In the end, it will generate its own algorithm. That is the power of AI, actually. It can generate its own algorithm, and it can either go good or bad. So it's better for an AI to be moderated and monitored by several group of people. And will it help to make real decisions? Yes, I would, like I said earlier, for me, I would see online or AI as a source of suggestion, and I wouldn't use it as my sole source of making my decisions. It's not my decision making tool. I still have my own personal ethics and decision making to check on. So I would rely AI or online as a suggestion. That's about it.
I see. So not as like the sole basis on like whatever they say, this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. So I think the next question is pretty interesting. Do you think that as technology advances, the gap between the middle to high income and the B40 will continue to, widen or spread apart? What are your thoughts on this?
Definitely it would, because now technology is becoming more accessible, open source. It's getting cheaper actually, like more affordable. Back then, if you want something decent, you need to pay thousands to hundreds of thousands, not thousands lah, in the thousand range. Now, if you want a good device, you can actually get it in a few hundred, and it'll run you for like a few 1 to 2 years, depending on how you use it. But like I say, as the gap will open up, the gap between high income and middle incomes access to technology will be minimized. I think it has already minimized a lot. I think one of the best examples is the smartphone business itself. Back then, a smartphone, nothing less than 2000. When Samsung and iPhone era was there, you either pay 2000 or 1800 or none. Right now, you can get a smartphone as low as 400 with all the necessary features anyone would need. So the gap is getting smaller. The same goes to laptop. Laptop back then aren't cheap. Right now, with 1500, you can get a decent laptop which can run you 5 years easily. Wow. So that is already a very good advancement, I would say, because as I said, back then tech is expensive because it's new and very rarely used. But now everyone has access to everything, and it gets cheaper over time. It applies for many aspects, not only phones and laptops. It can be cars, softwares, many things. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Jordan, do you have anything to add on?
Yeah, I totally agree on Sachin that it would reduce the gap, right? Because more and more people could afford those basic necessity, and also those advanced technologies such as a laptop, a mobile phone, which last time it would cost 1,000 or more to own a laptop, and only just the working or elite class can own those laptops. And also through automation, I believe that it will be all equal, where people is also talking about human rights, right? So other than the basic necessity like food, shelter, water, and air, I believe through automation, they could achieve higher quality of life. They would have more time in traveling, in developing arts, in having more philosophy thinking, and that would really brings up all the society into a higher level of living.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, guys. So moving on to the next question. As we know, there's flooding happening in, KL, Selangor, and some people are impacted by this. Do you think that technology plays a role in helping solve this issue? I feel like it kind of
100%.
does, especially social media. But let me know your thoughts, you guys. Maybe we can start with Jordan.
Mm-hmm. I believe that there is advantage in using technology, because even in TARUC, right, you can see that there's a post posted by our student representative council. We have pledged all kind of kind heart citizens to donate some kind of money or water, food supply towards those needy person, right? So I believe that this kind of technology does give an advantage towards people who are needy, because without electricity you can still be alive, but then without a good shelter, a good food, water, your life would be threatened by this natural disaster. So yeah, this really helps a lot.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. Sachin?
Technology does play a role in the current era. It does play a very major role in letting people know, aware of what's happening and what can be done. And because now, back then, when floods happen, it's not easy to reach out people. Now with platforms and places where you can just easily submit to raise a fund for a certain cause. You can reach out people who can actually help you out. You know, technology plays quite a significant role right now. So it does, I would say, facilitates certain necessities. And with that, yeah.
I see. All right, thanks so much, guys. I think because of due to time constraint, maybe we can quickly just answer one more question, which is, as most of the SMEs are not really aware of technology available, what do you think we can do to help these businesses? Maybe Sachin, you wanna take this first, and then Jordan?
SMEs is what again?
Small and medium enterprises. So like small businesses, yes.
Okay. Not what do you think we can do? I think we can just bring them awareness of how digitization can actually benefit their business, because like I said, some people prefer the conventional way, right? So when you explain, when you give them the digital literacy to them, they can actually leverage it and transform their business. So because personally, I've seen some businesses where they start in a very conventional way, then they enter into the technological realm, like food delivery, uh, like mini stores, like Instagram food accounts and everything. So that's how they promote, you know. Like when it comes to businesses, it's real, and technology is more inclined towards on the commerce side. There's not much on tech to be specified, you know. Even at most, if you want to implement tech or technology, it won't be in small, medium enterprises. It'll be in large scale corporations. Yeah.
Mm. So somehow it kind of also is dependent on the capital, the amount of capital they can have to invest in
Yes. Correct.
technology. Okay. Jordan, do you have anything to add on?
I would say that some SME, I guess their mindset of not advancing in technology and not innovating, it's because they focuses on the product, or if not, it's because they are well adapted to nowadays environment. So if they were to say improvement, they might improve the office, higher pay, higher benefits. But in terms of technology advancement, that is a really big advantage for them to adapt, right? For example, I've seen this technology called Microsoft Power Platform, where they encourage low code to no code kind of development. Yep, and they have showcased a lot of big companies, such as an primary school in the Nigeria continent, and also in an airport company. I believe it's the I forgot the company. I would not like to misspell it. So, but what they have did is like an air flight management app. So the manager would have a tablet and they can see what kind of status or what are the issues that they would have to face. And through that tablet, they can directly know where to go and what's the issue on that kind of places. And that really doesn't require a lot of IT expert. So I believe for technology like SME to advance in technology field, they can kind of explore in Microsoft Power Platform. Even though you're not a IT expert, it would not require much IT knowledge. It's just like it's just like drag and drop, like a design tools. But instead, it can achieve a lot more. Like you can connect to virtual agents where they answer customers Q&A. You can connect to automate where they automate all kind of flow, and you can do not require a lot of coding when you are making this kind of backend service. So
Yeah, these are actually very good points.
Yes,
Well,
a lot of companies
just
should.
thought about it.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are aware of Power Platform. I do not have a lot of exposure about it, but I can see the potential. And through joining the event, right, MMSA, which were collaborated with a lot of university, I gained much exposure about Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Power Platform, and how United States company has adapted my Power Platform in their company.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm like taking notes to like explore what is Microsoft Power Platform later. All
Actually,
right.
I heard the Maxis also uses the Power Platform.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, nice. That's something that I should definitely look into and like delve further. All right. So, and that brings us to the end of our panel session today. So, huge thank you to our speakers, Sachin and Jordan. Thank you so much for, answering the questions. And thank you to everyone who is here. Thank you so much for coming. So, I think before we end the session, maybe everyone would like to join us with their cameras so we can take a nice group picture for memories. All right, I see everyone joining us. Thank you so much.